Good evening and welcome to MIT Ballpark in Canberra, where Game 3 in the Week 10 action between Canberra and Perth is about to get underway in the Australian Baseball League. My name is Chris Coleman. Alongside me once again is Warwick Pethybridge. And Warwick, great to have your company on this Saturday evening for our second dose of baseball from the nation's capital on this Saturday.
Thanks, Chris. Crowd is pouring in here now. We, of course, had the continuation of Game 1 earlier this afternoon, but now in the last 50 minutes, lots of people fanning into the ground. We'll go through the defensive lineup. Canberra, as we alluded to in the previous ball game, Yuki Kuniyoshi is getting the start here in Game 3. He will be pitching to Kyle Perkins. Boss Manaroa, he's the man at first. Massey at second. Warner at third, Francoso at shortstop, then Kukiayagi, he's the left fielder, Michael Krause in centre, and David Canless in right field. Robbie Perkins, he's having a bit of a break. He's on the bench for this one. And then we'll head down the Perth Heat lineup, Chris Coleman.
Indeed we will. Perth in batting order. It'll be Tim Kennelly, the right fielder. Comes in leading off with an average of .336. Chris Clare, he was at DH earlier today. He's in left field for this third game of the series. Pete Cosman moves from shortstop across to second base. I know he was second base last night and shortstop earlier today. So swapping sides at the middle infield. Tristan Gray moves across to shortstop. Robbie Glendinning will be the third baseman. Carl Chester as centre fielder. Alex Hall designated hitter for this game in the 7-hole. Jake Bowie comes in at first base, and Chris House will be the catcher for this game this evening. A vital game for both of these sides. I think for Canberra, it's basically now win this one or give up any hope of moving out of the wild card game. I think that's pretty much how it's going to work out.
Well, it's win and hope for results to go your way, Chris Coleman. Because as well, Sydney, they're playing Adelaide, and Brisbane, Geelong, Korea. So the baseball gods have got to be working in the Cavalry's favour.
We've seen all sorts of funny things happen on the final day of baseball seasons in years gone by, and tomorrow, due to some late scheduling changes, there'll be two games being played on the Sunday. Originally the Sunday was going to be baseball free, and then the final game between these two sides was moved to Sunday, and then the Brisbane-Geelong Korea game also added to the Sunday schedule. So there'll be two games taking place tomorrow. And during the course of this evening, we'll try and have a bit of a sticky beak as to what is happening with the other games around the nation as well. But as things stand, yeah, it's a vitally important game for both of these teams, for Perth and for Canberra. If you weren't with us earlier, Perth, after leading 2-0 on Thursday night, that game, the lead-off game in the series, was resumed earlier this afternoon, and Perth just went on with the job. They steamrolled the Canberra Cavalry 7 runs to 1. Last night it was the other way, Canberra winning 5 runs to 2. But as is always the way with baseball, we go to a completely clean sheet and we start again with a 0-0 scoreboard. And we'll be doing that very soon after the national anthems have been played. And I'm really curious to see how the Cavalry go here tonight. They are in the throwback jerseys tonight, the Canberra Bushrangers jerseys that were modelled earlier in the season. Throwback Thursday was meant to be happening, but due to the rain it didn't, so it's Throwback Saturday, which doesn't quite have the same ring to it, but it still looks pretty good out there on the diamond. A hush falls over the ground as the national anthem is about to be performed for us by a local singer.
Australians, all let us rejoice, for we are young and free, with golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is girt by sea. Our lands abound in nature's gifts of beauty.
Young girl with long red hair and a pretty pink dress has done a great job with the national anthem there, was.
She has indeed, Chris, and I'm just looking around. It is scorebook, not fun day. I think a few of the guys may have forgotten about Throwback Jersey Saturday.
Yeah.
Boss Moana Roller is not wearing
no, it's one of those, is it?
He's not wearing his usual 45, he's wearing number 7. Craig Massey, who did wear 25 on Bushrangers night a few weeks ago, he's wearing number 16.
So he's got 16. Yuki Kuniyoshi's got 46.
So he's half of his usual 92.
Oh boy, this is going to be fun for the night tonight. Kyle Perkins at least is in number 11. David Candelas is out there in 27.
Francoso, everyone else I think has their normal number. 4 for Warner, 5 for Francoso. Ayagi's got 10. Krause, who wasn't even part of the squad for Bushrangers night, he's actually got 30.
And we'll trust that Zach Wilson's wearing 24 when he comes out as
I'm not
designated hitter later. Well, we'll cross our fingers and trust. And, of course, you're going to be picking up a bit of the action on your Pat Malone this evening.
Apparently, yeah.
Yeah, well, sometimes as a part owner of the club, there are things that you've got to do.
Oh, here we go.
And unavoidable tonight that I've got to duck out and do a couple of things.
No, but for the listeners at home, it's going to be... it's an exciting time where you're looking at possibilities for things to improve the coverage next year, and we've got some people to help. That's all right.
And we'll be seeing what happens, as the evening unfolds. But it's going to be a fun old night tonight. What a game this will be.
I'm hoping the chat stays up because then you can tell me what you like and what you don't like.
Don't give him the option.
Oh, no, it's okay.
Don't give people the option.
Oh, it's okay. Was is an equal opportunity chat person. Doesn't mean he has to like it. Doesn't mean he has to read it out. Kuniyoshi, what a big opportunity for him.
Well, he comes in. He's had a real mixed bag this season. 1-3, his win-loss record. ERA of 4.5. He's had some really good outings, but he's had some stuff where fielding hasn't backed him up, and then he's had a couple where his pitching's let him down. So it's been a real mixed bag for him. It'll be his last pitching appearance for the Canberra Cavalry. None of the Japanese players staying for the post-season, so they head home on Tuesday. They fly out. The club presentation dinner is on Monday night.
Obviously why they're giving Cooney the start tonight. Might as well go out with a bang, my friend.
Well, they'll be looking to pick up that second win.
Well, and that must be why they're looking around, because not only are you going to take Cooney, you've also got Tomoya Mikami.
Tomoya Mikami will be his. I suspect we may well see him today and again tomorrow. But we saw him last night, and Koki Ayagi, this could be his last start in a Cavalry uniform, at least for this season. I believe they've all expressed an interest in coming back next year. Whether the DNA Bay Stars want to send them back next year or want to send some other players is another question. But the first pitch from Kuniyoshi, the tall right-hander, very rangy, tall right-handed Japanese pitcher. It's low and away from Tim Kennelly for ball 1. Kuniyoshi, as do most Japanese pitchers, the left leg comes up, he holds it for about half a second and then really drives through, puts a big step down the mound.
Kuniyoshi coming from the stretch, not the full wind-up, but of course, as we've seen him in every appearance, Chris Coleman, usually out of the bullpen. 2-0 is the count to Tim Kennelly. Ball called by home plate umpire Ben Nash. It was a little on the high side, but I thought he had enough to have it come through the top of the zone. But 3-0. He comes set. And that one's there. Must have been 2 millimetres lower than the other one.
Just dropped it a tiny bit.
That's all it needs.
His way. Yeah, 3-1 the count now.
I did not know that the Bay Star boys were heading home on Tuesday. So that explains why Kuniyoshi's getting the start here. As Kennelly pops that one up. Massey underneath it at second base. In the end, under it comfortably. 1 out. Chris Clare. He's the left fielder. He was the designated hitter in the last game. Or the first game, or I'm just all confused.
Yeah, it's just confusing. We'll just stick with what's going on in front of us and not try and get the chronology right.
The right-handed Clare, batting .288 on the season. He steps in against the right-handed Kuniyoshi from the stretch. That's high, but he still gets around on it early and rips it foul down the third base line. On one. People still coming in. Big crowd gathering here at MIT Ballpark. Kuniyoshi from the stretch. That's a beautiful breaking pitch. Beautiful 12-6 curveball to Clare. Called strike 2. Canberra needs to get off to a good start in this game. 0-2 the count to Clare. Kuniyoshi again from the stretch delivers. Off the end of the bat for Clare, straight to the second baseman, Massey. He picks up and throws over the head of Moa, who reached back for the glove tag but missed him.
Keith Ward's not happy about this. He's straight out there.
Safe at first. At the moment is Chris Clare, but Keith Ward is running, making a beeline for first base umpire Matt Pearson.
Now, I wonder whether it's not just did he make the tag or how far off the line did he run? That's what he's saying, is how far off the line has he run?
I think he was well inside the line. I think he was fine. I think he was in the running line.
I'm just saying what Keith Ward's pointing at. He's come out. He's pointed along the dirt. Got to be very careful pointing out lines in the dirt to umpires.
No, that's all right. He's no, and that's okay. He's asking something, and now the umpires are going to get together and have a chat. He's going to home plate umpire Ben Nash. Third base umpire Riley Barrington's coming in. He's saying maybe he might have just get a bit of another opinion. The umpires are all together. Ward is still at first talking to Moa.
Ever seen an umpire change his mind?
But that's the thing, though. No, hasn't changed his mind. The ruling is safe, but no. But the home plate umpire can overrule.
He can.
And that's the thing. Obviously, Ben Nash didn't see it, and he was right there. He was on the line. Yeah. If there was a tag, he would have seen it.
Anyway, Keith Ward's having a word with Ben Nash at home.
And he's saying, I completely agree with that call and understand it, but respectfully disagree, sir.
No, maybe Wardy doesn't want to wear the Bushrangers jersey. Maybe he wants to go and get a seat in the clubhouse.
Oh.
This is a long conversation happening here.
It's still, yeah, and he's I don't know, umpire Ben Nash is engaged with him. They're not. He's listening to what he has to say. I like these kind of conversations, Chris Coleman, when you can see a coach and an umpire and they're both nodding at each other and they're both, you can see that the positive body language, it's a good thing. But anyway, the call is ruled safe. And I'm wondering what that is scored as.
I reckon that's been given as an error. I think that's an E up on the board.
Pete Cosma. Yes, I think you're right. Pete Cosma, he steps in batting 288.
It has been given as an error.
Infielder in the Detroit Tigers organisation. Playing at second base in this game. Kuniyoshi fires over. I think he just wanted to make Chris Clare dive in the dirt and say, mate, you got a free pass. Because I'm sure Perth were going he's save and I'm sure Canberra were going he's out. Oh, there's some very colourful boots on Chris Clare at first base. Kuniyoshi from the stretch. He delivers to Cosma. That's low, ball one.
Scores from the other games. In the early game between Sydney and Adelaide, the home side have held on there. They took a 3-0 lead after one inning. Wound up winning 3-2 in that 7-inning match. While Melbourne went 4-0 up in the fifth against Auckland. Auckland pulled 2 back in the 6th. That's all. So Melbourne have won that one 4-2.
Kuniyoshi gets a called strike on Cosma.
Brisbane and Geelong Carrera have just started their game. No score in that one as yet, and no score here either. Perth and Canberra in the top of the first.
So 1-1. Clare the runner at first. Kuniyoshi from the stretch. He fires. Cosma along the ground. That's just to the left of the second baseman, Massey. A base hit into right field. David Candless, he picks up the ball. And now, with one out, 2 on here in the top of the first. Tristan Gray, the shortstop. So him and Cosma have switched defensive positions for this game. He steps into the box. The left-handed Gray coming in, batting 308. I like that it's a nod to the past with a pinch of the present. The boys, the Canberra boys, wearing the Bushrangers jerseys tonight, but with the Sarge hats. Kuniyoshi from the stretch, checks the runners. High breaking ball, doesn't do enough to get over the plate.
Mix and match, mate. Mix and match.
That's what I'm saying. It's a nod to the past with a poke of the present, with the pinch of the present. Nothing wrong with that at all. 1-0. Claire the runner at second. Kuniyoshi checks him. Delivers. Fast ball low, ball 2. So, beautiful night, temperature cooling down. Lovely. That wind still blowing as it was in the early game. Pretty much straight across the ground from the right field foul pole all the way across to the left field foul pole. Kuniyoshi delivers from the stretch. And he gets one in there for a called strike 1. The count is 2 balls, 1 strike. Up into the heart of this Perth lineup. In the first inning, Kuniyoshi, breaking pitch, fouled away back to the screen, evens the count at 2-2. Two and two here, 1 out. Top of the first. Chris Clare, he's the runner at second for Perth. Pete Cosma, he's at first. Kuniyoshi set from the stretch. Checks the runners and delivers, and that's high and outside to the left-handed Gray. Ball 3. Counters loaded, counters full. Counters whatever you like, Chris Coleman.
Count has lots of curved numbers in.
It's 3-2-1. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out here, top of the first at MIT Ballpark. 2 runners on for Perth. Kuniyoshi, he's set, checks the runners. And that's high and outside again. Ball 4. So a walk here has loaded the bases for Perth with 1 out. Robbie Glendinning, the third baseman. He was 2 for 5 in the continued game 1 this afternoon. He steps in. He's only batting a lazy 352. Walking him to his first at bat with loaded bases. Kuniyoshi set. Goes for that high breaking pitch again, but misses ball 1. So Chris Clare, he's the runner at third. Cosma at second. Tristan Gray at first. Kuniyoshi set from the stretch. He delivers high again. Ball 2. The sun is in that very difficult position for the outfielders, especially Krause in centre. Candless especially in right. Kuniyoshi set. Breaking pitch. Fouled back by Glendinning. 2-1. We'll try and keep you updated with all the action tonight as it's happening, especially around the grounds as it pertains to the playoff picture. We know the 5 sides that are going to be competing. We just don't know where and when yet. Kuniyoshi delivers, and that's fouled again by Glendinning down the first base side. Evens the count at 2-2. Kuniyoshi having to do a lot of work in the first inning. Chris Clare, he's the runner at third. He got on there on the error that was charged to Craig Massey. And Pete Cosma, he's at second. Tristan Gray at first for the Heat. 1 out, full count. Kuniyoshi with the breaking pitch. Sorry, it wasn't a full count. It was 2-2. Now it's a full count. My apologies, I jumped the gun there. Yuki Kuniyoshi, he comes set, doesn't like what he sees, steps off the back of the rubber. It's a big moment, Chris Coleman, early.
Huge moment. It's such a long inning here for Kuniyoshi.
He's set at the stretch, checks the runners, delivers, and that is high and inside, ball 4, walks a run.
Not the start the Cavalry want. I hate to sound like Captain Obvious, but we saw him give up early runs in game 1 of this series. And Perth are not the kind of side you can give runs to at any stage of the game, but giving them early runs, well, it just makes it so much harder. They're such a potent offense. Brooks Hall, their pitcher, interestingly enough, hasn't thrown a lot. I think he's only thrown about 5 innings. In fact, it is just 5 innings pitched for Brooks Hall, their starting pitcher, but has yet to give up an earned run. So it'll be most interesting to see how Canberra can, well, slow this down. It's the cliche to stem the bleeding. Well, with the bases loaded and 1 out, a double play here ends the inning with only 1 run inflicted in terms of damage. Well, having said that, 1 good hit, and boy, oh boy, you're in a lot of trouble early.
Well, Alex Hall did that in the last game. He had a bases clearing double. But it's already brought out pitching coach Brian Grenning. He's come to have a chat to Kuniyoshi.
Steve Chambers goes out with him in his role as part-time translator as well as
full-time pitcher.
Yeah. Wonder if he gets double duty allowance.
Oh, maybe he gets an extra sandwich. I take the sandwich. Carl Chester, the centre fielder. He steps in batting 253, the right-hander. Kuniyoshi with that breaking pitch again. He's missed with that one. Ball 1. So Cosma is now the runner at third, Gray at second, Glendinning at first. Kuniyoshi at the stretch delivers. High, but Chester can't lay off it and fouls it back to the screen. 1-1. It is a big crowd starting to file in here at MIT Ballpark. You can tell when the bleachers down the very far first base side as Kuniyoshi comes set and delivers again, and that's high, 2-1. You can tell when the bleachers down the far end near the visiting bullpen are already full. That we're in for a big night.
I'm pretty sure the Cavalry are going to want it with the biggest home crowd average for the season.
Kuniyoshi set. Checks the runners. He fires on high, 3-1. So all of a sudden, Kuniyoshi, he got the first batter, Kennelly. Then the error came. And then a single to Cosma, walk to Gray, walk to Glendinning. Now down 3-1 to Chester. He's in the stretch, delivers. That's a foul. 3 balls, 2 strikes. This is a big pitch right now. Can't afford to walk another hitter.
Already walked in 1 run here.
So, top of the first here, Perth already on the board. 1 run on 1 hit. Kuniyoshi sets. He's at the stretch, checks the runners, delivers. Chester has popped that back, and I'm fairly certain it's going to hit the roof. Oh, no, it's gone over us. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Just a reminder, this is a 7-inning game. Because of the washout, Kuniyoshi again delivers. Foul down the first base side into the Snake Gully. Oh no, oh no. Chris Coleman, I hope you're wrong because I'm seeing little children squeezing themselves through the fence there.
It's frightening, isn't it?
There's a little hole there and a couple of little kids have dove under to get the ball. Oh no, there goes another one. I hope you're wrong, my friend.
I really wouldn't, but
3 balls, 2 strikes. Cosma is the man at third, Gray at second, Glendinning at first. From the stretch, payoff pitch. in the dirt. Oh, but he's called that Chester went around.
Well,
and that is maybe potentially, that's one of those ones, Chris Coleman, you're lucky if you get them and you're unlucky if you don't. Kuniyoshi was lucky that time. Home plate umpire Ben Nash ruled he went around more than he was allowed.
Well, sometimes it's the old saying, sometimes better to be lucky than good, and maybe, just maybe, that's what Yuki Kuniyoshi needed, just something to turn his luck a little bit, because now he really can just focus on the batter. It's Alex Hall, mind you, and that's going to be no mean feat, because Hall comes in with a 316, 318 average, and he instantly adds to it with a double to left field.
Hall. Alex Hall has literally just done what he did in the last game, stepped in with loaded bags and has just basically, for lack of a better term, an inside-out slice, which is just gone over the head of Cam Warner, rolled into left field and scored both Cosma and Gray, and now all of a sudden Perth have 3 runs in the top of the first.
And that's something like 32 RBIs for Alex Hall for the course of this season. In 37 games, 32 RBIs.
That's also 5 RBIs in the last hour.
Bulk by, mate.
Now, forgive me if I get this wrong, Jake Bowie?
Jake Bowie.
Jake Bowie, he's in. He's got a 1-ball count. Kuniyoshi set. At the stretch, checks the runners. He's low again, ball 2. So now just a recap. Glendinning at third. Alex Hall at second, 2 out. Kuniyoshi high and outside to the left-handed. Jake Bowie. Count is 3-0.
Actually 33 RBIs for Alex Hall. So there you go. I think that was 33 coming into this game. The stats were a little slow to update coming into this game.
Sorry, Chris Coleman. There is a ball for walk again. Reloads the bases. Kuniyoshi has loaded the bases again. Chris House.
This could be turning into a very, very long night for Canberra Cavalry fans, but I can tell you one person it won't be turning into a very, very long night for is Yuki Kuniyoshi. He's about to be relieved of pitching duties in the first, and this is absolutely what Perth would have been looking for, not what he would have been looking for, Yuki Kuniyoshi, in most likely, barring coming out as a reliever tomorrow now, I guess, most likely his last appearance for the Canberra Cavalry. Not sure who it'll be to come in and replace, because
that looks like J.R. Bunda.
That's a most interesting call.
That, to me, it looks...
Hang on, we'll get it from PA announcer. There we go. It is indeed J.R. Bunda making his way out from the bullpen.
Two out in the first inning, and loaded bags. Not the situation you want to come into.
No, and I don't think I've ever seen J.R. Bunda as a long reliever, as a long relieving prospect. So this will be interesting, and it may well not be a long relieving prospect. This may be, okay, JR, you're going to come in and you're going to throw 2 innings, and we're going to throw 7 guys an inning apiece or something after you.
So, House, the catcher, is about to step in. He's only got a 125 batting average, but that's because he's literally had 8 plate appearances this season. He's 1 for 8. So it's a small cross section. So we'll just quickly recap. Kuniyoshi started out well. He got Kelly to fly out to second baseman Massey. Then the error throw by Massey to Chris Clare on the ground out, missed the target, and Boss Moanaroa had some work to do. Then a single to Pete Cosma, and then Tristan Gray, Robbie Glendinning both walked. Chester was called out on the strike 3, went around probably just maybe 2 centimetres more than he was allowed. But the bases were loaded, and then Alex Hall did what Alex Hall did in the game earlier. But instead of going down the right field line, he went up the left field line. Which scored. It scored Cosma and Gray because Chris Clare had already scored when on the walk to Glendinning. So we refresh. Glendinning's the runner at third for Perth. Alex Hall is at second. Jake Bowie. He's the runner at first on the walk. Chris House, the catcher and number 9 hitter, left-hander. He steps in against the right-handed Bunda. As I've said many times on this broadcast, he has the most interesting pitching mechanics I've seen in a long time.
There's no one like him. There is nobody in the world like him.
Pitches from the stretch. And that's high. But literally to try and describe it doesn't do it justice. But he comes side on, and then he'll lean forward with his left knee while he's still moving, comes back, then comes set, then delivers. All from the stretch. And literally just fires it into Kyle Perkins' glove. He comes set again, checks the runners. Along the ground to the first baseman, Boss Mara, who literally just walks over and steps on the bag for the fourth down. And the third out, but Perth back through the side. They put 3 runs on the board here. It's 3-0 after the top half of the first, Chris Coleman, in this 7-inning sprint.
Well, Tim Kennelly will be leading off for the first inning and the second inning. Doesn't happen terribly often, but it'll be happening here at Narrabundah tonight. But in the interim, there's plenty of baseball still to come, or at least that's what Michael Francoso and the Canberra Cavalry will be hoping for. Francoso, David Candelas and Craig Massey, the top 3 in the batting order for Canberra. In fact, I'll continue down the list before Woz gives you the defensive lineup for the Perth Heat. Zach Wilson, DH at 4, Krause at 5, Boss Monaroa, first baseman at 6, Kyle Perkins batting in the 7 hole. At 8, it's Cam Warner, and batting number 9 is Koki Aoyagi. It'll be Brooks Hall on the bump for the Perth Heat, Warwick.
Brooks Hall is, as you said, Chris Coleman, only thrown 5 innings this year, so he's only coming back as well. Chris House, he's the man behind the plate. Jake Bowie at first. Pete Cosma, as I said, he swaps with Tristan Gray, so Cosma to second. Tristan Gray, he'll play short. Then Robbie Glendinning at third. Chris Clare is the left fielder. Carl Chester in centre and Tim Kennelly in right field. But it's going to feel good for Brooks Hall coming out with a 3-run lead already. Just a reminder, I'm sure you're hearing it over the PA system. Even though we're starting at the usual time of 7 o'clock because of the continuation of game 1 earlier this afternoon, per ABL rulebook, this makes this a 7-inning game.
It really is a sprint, and Canberra, well, I'm thinking of the stall gift foot race at Easter, where it's a professional foot race, and
you start off a handicap.
Well, you start off a handicap. Yeah, you know, if you're a better runner, you give the other team or you give the other runners a head start, so to speak, and it can be anything up to 10 or 11 metres, I think. Mate. So Canberra have given Perth a 3-run head start. But having said that, Canberra yet to bat. So let's see what the Cavalry have got, and let's see about Brooks Hall. Let's see what we can find out about this right-handed pitcher for the Perth Heat, who nobody in the ABL has seen an awful lot of.
Oh, Francoso. We're about to find out. Francoso's average has dropped. He was only 1 for 5-4 in the last game, so it's a lazy 427. So we're about to find out. Hall delivers. That is a beautiful pitch right down the middle. Strike 1.
Certainly nothing wrong with his fastball.
Nothing wrong with that at all. Beautiful 2-seam moving away from Francoso. He is actually working from the wind-up. Here it comes. Hall delivers. A little bit high and inside.
Just a little.
Just a little.
Brooks Hall, 28 years old, a native of Anderson, South Carolina. You mentioned about Andersons earlier this afternoon. It's not just surnames, it's place names as well.
That's high from Brooks Hall. Francoso thought about it, but checked his swing. Count as 2 balls and 1 strike. Hall from the wind-up. And that's straight past Francoso.
That had plenty on it. That really was moving.
It was indeed.
He's very tall.
Francoso, he's got underneath this one. The left fielder, he's coming out underneath it, and that one is gone. Francoso, not really known for the power, but he's put one right over the left field fence.
5th home run for the season for Michael Francoso. We don't see too many that sort of curl around the foul pole in left field, but that one did. And now it's just a 2-run ball game. It could be one of those nights. We haven't seen a slugfest here in Canberra in a while. It could be one of those nights tonight. And Michael Francoso, well, you said it before, his average was down to 427. He'll be looking to get it back up again because I reckon he knows that he's a big chance of having the leading average in the league at the end of the season. A couple of hits will probably secure that for him this evening. And that one going a good 340 feet down the left field line as David Candelas pops the first one up that he receives from Brooks Hall into foul territory immediately behind the grandstand.
Wasn't a bad pitch by Hall. Had him in the 2-strike hole, and Francoso just got up underneath it and got enough muscle on it. 0-1 the count to Candelas. Oh, high and inside, I think.
Phew.
David Candelas has literally just ducked under a pitch that would have taken his head off.
I saw him when he came up. There was a big exhale. Whew.
One and one to David Candelas.
You know the noise a baseball makes as it cuts through the air? I reckon David Candelas has heard that at very, very close quarters there, far closer than you ever want it. 1-1.
All from the wind-up, delivers, and that's outside. 2 balls and 1 strike, so that's the thing, we may have... Hall, he comes again, and that's out right on the outside corner. 2-2 to Candelas. Candelas coming into this game, batting .255 as that pitch is in the dirt to make the count full. But in his last 15 or 16 games, David Candelas is on fire. And it wasn't like he was struggling to make contact early in the season. He was making a lot of contact, but unfortunately it was straight at the fielders. Here's the payoff pitch. Hall delivers. Candelas rips that foul down the third base line. Count remains full.
Gee, that was only foul by 20 centimetres.
Inches, Chris Coleman, inches.
Yuki Kuniyoshi, I've just jotted down his pitching line. 0.2 innings pitched. Gave up 2 hits, 3 runs, none of them earned. Because Clare, the first of them, was reaching on an error as we see Candelas hit it straight to Glendenning at third base. Glendenning to Bowie at first, and Candy's out. Yeah, so 3 runs, no earned runs against Yuki Kuniyoshi. So rather intriguingly, his ERA will go down on that performance. Walked 3 though, struck out 1. 36 pitches and 17 of those were strikes.
Anyway,
I'm looking at the. I had to double check it was. I've gone to the.
Oh no, that's okay.
I've gone to the scorebook and it's listed as 0 earned runs.
Well, that's interesting. Craig Massey, he steps in, takes a called strike 1. Massey wearing 16 must have left his throwback shirt at home. Hall from the wind-up delivers. That's a high breaking ball that's in there for strike 2. And you may be able to hear some of the fans in our effects mic.
Not thrilled.
Not thrilled. I think that some of those same pitches were the ones that Kuniyoshi was missing. 0-2. Hall again from the wind-up. That's an off break in the dirt. It has literally bounced.
Yeah, it was the offie.
Yeah. It's literally bounced about, I don't know, 4 or 5 feet in front of, literally in front of the legs of Craig Massey, and then turned away from him over the plate.
I was a little confused because it's the offie to the left-hand batter.
Yeah.
So.
Remember, it goes away 1-2. Brooks Hall. As Massey has swung one near his back foot and struck out. Strike 2. Strike 3. He's the second out. Zach Wilson. He is wearing 24. You can write that down in your book.
Beautiful.
In case you're wondering why we're playing Cavs Lotto, it's because they're wearing their Canberra Bushrangers tops and some of them left them at home. Had to wear the spares. Hall from the wind-up delivers. Wilson likes the first pitch he sees and cranks it into left centre for a base hit.
It's his 47th hit for the season, Zach Wilson.
So he's the runner at first. 2 out, Michael Krause. Krause batting .429, but it's only a small sample size. This is only his 3rd series.
He will be eligible for the postseason. He won't be eligible
for the batting title. He steps in now. Hall, he'll deliver from the stretch. Low and outside, ball 1. The right-handed hitting Krause, he's been a great addition to this Cavalry lineup.
Should give you the rest of that pitching line for Kuniyoshi.
Krause rips one straight at the 3rd baseman, Glenn Denning, and once again makes Bowie stretch for it. But he got it, and that retires the side. Well, they started out a little bit behind on the blocks, but they've pegged one back, so after 1, Perth Heat 3, Canberra Cavalry 1.
It is going to potentially be a slugfest here tonight, with the batters on both sides leaving nothing to chance this evening. Now, I'll finish off that pitching line for Yuki Kuniyoshi. I'm not sure how much of it I gave. So I mentioned 3 runs, and they're listed on the book as none earned. So I'm just still trying to work my head around that. But anyway, that's what it's listed as. 36 pitches thrown, 17 of them strikes, 1 ground out, and no flyouts, with just the 1 strikeout in there for Yuki Kuniyoshi. Now, some playoff scenarios, courtesy of fabulous Phil over in Adelaide.
This is Lucky Phil.
And Phil, thank you very much for this. This is after the wins earlier today for Melbourne over Auckland and Adelaide over Sydney. Canberra can win the Northeast. They need to win both games, tonight and tomorrow, and they need Sydney to lose to Adelaide and Brisbane to lose at least 1 to Geelong Korea. The Cavs lose today or lose tomorrow, or if Sydney win tonight, Canberra can't go top of the Northeast Division. Perth will win the Southwest if they win both these remaining games, or if Melbourne lose the last game and Perth win 1 game. So there you go.
There we go. So on all of that, it's basically, and if it's still a tie, there will be 2-man sack races on consecutive Sundays. J.R. Bunda, he's back out for the 2nd. Tim Kennelly.
So, barring the score, it's almost as though we're back where we started from. It's none out in the inning, and it's Tim Kennelly coming out to start things off.
That's right.
He'll be followed by Chris Clare and Pete Cosma. 3-1 the score. Perth over Canberra, and J.R. Bunda. That little dip of the hips. Winds up, fast ball. Whizzes past Tim Kennelly for strike 1. Now Bunda, I think that may have been an attempted breaking ball from him, but it didn't break. It just sat up high, very high, went through probably about chin height. Count goes to 1-1. Right-handed pitcher, right-handed batter. And the right-handed batter sends it to the left of left field, and that bounces off the fence at the adjoining rugby league ground. There's a car parked there too. Someone nearly winding up with the souvenir ball on the front seat, but the count goes to 1-2.
Was that through the window? Or?
Yeah, yeah. Souvenir ball without unlocking the door first. 1-2. None out. And now Bunda goes short. So we've seen a couple of attempted off breaks. And now the count goes to 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Bunda comes set from the stretch. He delivers. Kennelly has just got that inside out, and it will drop into right field for a base hit.
And that's either his 50th or 51st hit for the season, Tim Kennelly. So Kennelly on with a single to right field.
Chris Clare, the left fielder, he steps in. He reached on the error by Massey in the first inning. Right-handed hitter. Tim Kennelly leads away from first. Bunda heads in that direction. Kennelly comfortably back. JR Bunda comes from the stretch. Checks Kennelly. Kennelly's running. Oh, that has gone right along the left field line over the glove of Cam Warner and is a base hit. Tim Kennelly is going to score from first base. And Clare will stand up at second. Absolutely picture perfect hit along the line. Straight over the glove of the backhanded trying Cam Warner into the left field corner. And Perth tack on another one. They now lead 4-1. Bunda comes set, runner goes. Chris Clare has got an absolutely lightning fast jump and has just stolen third base. I think they've figured something out here. Perth has just sent their last two runners on the first pitch. I think they've figured out something here with Bunda's mechanics, and they're just sending the runners at will. So now, none out, one ball to Pete Cosma. That one's in there for a called strike.
I'm just wondering, with that little dip of the hips, when he comes back up, he has to come to a complete stop in there somewhere, doesn't he?
Yes. But that's the thing, until he comes to the complete stop, he's in motion, so he can just turn and throw. If they go, he has to come to that complete stop set.
Yeah, but then when he comes to the complete stop,
there's something here, because
when he comes to that complete stop, he holds for a long time, low and away from the right-handed Cosma for ball 2. 2-1 is the count.
Bunda comes set. He's at the stretch. Chris Clare is the runner at third. And that's right there, right along the outside for a called strike 2. Two and two. Bunda comes set again. Squibbed off the end of the bat. Bunda has dropped the ball in his feet. Cosma is going to get the first. Bunda has gone to pick the ball up. He's turned and looked at the third baseman. Clare hasn't realised the ball's come out of his glove.
And then as he's reached it, he's had to reach just half a step behind himself and has nearly lost his footing. And comedy of errors. Funny for everyone except for the Canberra Cavalry. So now, none out and runners at the corners. And I'll tell you something that Perth have managed to do here.
Multiple runners in both innings.
You can hear the music from whatever 80s movie that is, the Holding Out for a Hero, Footloose, but can you hear the crowd?
Not a lot.
They have been almost shut out of this equation. This crowd here in Canberra, it's a big crowd tonight. You can almost hear a pin drop. 4-1 the score here, none out. Perth with 2 on in the top of the second.
Hit that to Francoso, to Massey. Over to Maunaroa, completes the double play, gets 2 out, but Clare scores from third. So there's another run for the Perth Heat. So Pete Cosma reached on the error by Bunda. Did the one thing that you're always taught as a youngster, make sure you've got the ball before you spend it. And he dropped it.
It's very hard to throw the ball when you don't have it.
As he delivers pitch one to the right hand to Glendinning, it's high, ball one. As you can see, it's a warm night still. The Diamond Dolls are out hanging out super dupers to the fans in the grandstand. Bunda comes set from the stretch. That's outside, 2 balls. And in a 7-inning sprint, Chris, this is almost like Perth are running off scratch at the moment and Canberra are giving them a good 10, 11 metre start.
Makes it difficult. Not impossible, but certainly difficult.
Bunda comes set. Delivers. And there's one in there. Called strike by home plate umpire Ben Nash. Bunda again, fouled back by Glendinning, evens the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Top of the second here. Bunda comes set at the stretch. And he delivers and gets one past Glendinning, strike 3. That retires the side, but not before Perth tack on 2 more runs. They lead 5-1 midway through the second, Chris.
They do indeed. Well, I'll be leaving you on your own to entertain the audience for a little while, but commitments to do. Cheerleading display happening here out on the ground, and I'd like to see you try and do that at some stage. There's a girl there. She's standing on 1 foot, and she's being held up by 4 or 5 people who are just holding onto her ankle. That is a remarkable balance. In baseball terms, Boss Moanaroa, Kyle Perkins and Cam Warner due up for the Canberra Cavalry. Middle of the second, it's 5-1. Warwick Pethybridge, over to you.
Thank you, Chris. Oh, there's dipping and spinning and diving. And no, I could not do that. Halfway through the second here in this 7-inning game, even though we did start on time under ABL rules this season, any games that are rescheduled due to weather or otherwise become 7 innings, and because they were already 2 innings through, they just completed the first game this morning. That made it 9. It is the bottom of the second here at MIT Boyle Park. And there he is. When you hear this song, you know it. Boss Moanaroa. He steps in. Boss batting 239. He's been coming on late as well. He's made decisions. Hall delivers the first pitch from the wind-up. It's high. Ball 1 to Boss. Boss gets under the second one. Left fielder Chris Clare, he comes running around into foul territory, takes the catch. One down. The catcher, Kyle Perkins. Kyle Perkins batting 264. He steps in against Hall, right-handed versus right-hander. Hall working from the full wind-up, delivers. Perkins gets a hold of that one. That's into right centre field, will drop for a base hit. As the centre fielder Chester comes around to deliver, Perkins heads all the way into second. Slides in comfortably with a double. Base hit number 33 on the season for Kyle Perkins. Cam Warner, the third baseman. Batting .223, 27 hits. 15 RBIs on the season. He steps in against the right-handed Hall. Hall now coming from the stretch, set at the belt. He delivers. And that pitch is right in there on the inside for a called strike against Cam Warner. If you're just joining us, Perth tacked on 5 runs early. They lead 5-1 here in the bottom of the second. Hall delivers again. Low and outside on the breaking pitch, ball 1. One and one is the count to Cam Warner. Hall set at the belt. Checks Perkins. Outside Warner. I don't know what that was. That was half a swing. Strike 2. The count is 1 ball, 2 strikes. For Cam Warner. Carl Perkins is at second. He's got a good lead. No one near him. Hall set at the belt. Delivers. Warner off the end of the bat. That's gone over the glove of Pete Cosmer into right field. Here comes Perkins. The throw from Tim Kennelly is wide. Perkins will score standing up. So Canberra tack on their second run. Ball has bounced clean over the glove. Pete Cosmer at full stretch to his left. Glove side at second. And the ball has taken a nice hop off the dirt over his glove and into shallow right field. Kennelly coming in, but the throw was off target. Kyle Perkins scored from second. It is now 5-2 in favour of the Perth Heat. Brooks set at the belt again to Kuki Ayagi. Ayagi hits that straight to the second baseman. Cosmer flicks it to Gray over to Bowie at first, and that completes the inning-ending double play. So after giving up another 1 run, Perth Heat are leading by 5-2. Beautiful double play there for the Heat. Cosmer with the backhanded flip over to Gray at short. Short fires over to Bowie at first. So 2 innings in the books here in this 7-inning game tonight. Perth 5, Canberra 2. J.R. Bunda, he's back on the bump for the Cavalry. I'm just having a quick look around to see if there's been any other changes. Nothing that I can see. You can hear on the ground, Mike, there is a game of cornhole happening on the third base side. We head to the top of the third here at MIT Ballpark. Canberra will be hoping for a quick inning. They've conceded runs in both innings here so far to the Perth Heat. They trail 5-2, both sides with 4 hits. But Canberra have committed 2 errors and also given up 1, 2, 3 walks. So Carl Chester, he leads things off here in the third inning for the Perth Heat. Centre fielder. Bunda back out on the bump for the Cavs. He's ready at the stretch. Chester hits it straight to Massey. Massey just takes his time and makes sure of this one. Over to Moen Aroa at first for the force out. 1 away. Alex Hall, what an afternoon he's had. had the 2-run double in the first. He also had a bases clearing double in the last game, which blew it wide open in favour of the Perth Heat. He steps in, the left-handed Hall against the right-handed Bunda. Bunda set, delivers. Hall fouls it along the first base side, strike one. A lot of people here at MIT Ballpark in Canberra. Bunda set from the stretch, delivers. Hall hits it straight back to Bunda. Picks it up out of his glove. Throws it over to Moanaroa for the second out. Well, there we go. Jake Bowie. First baseman, he steps in. Batting .286 on the season. He walked in his first appearance tonight. That was the last we saw of Yuki Kuniyoshi. Bunda comes set from the stretch, delivers. Called strike one on the left-handed. Left-handed Bowie. 0-1 the count, 2 out here. Top of the third. Bunda delivers. Beautiful breaking pitch, deceives Bowie in quickly. He's in the 0-2 hole. So the count is, no balls, 2 strikes, Bunda. Bowie hits it straight along the ground to the second baseman, Massey. He fires over to Moanaroa again for the third out of the inning. So on 6 pitches, Bunda gets through the top of the third. And for the first time in this game, the Canberra Cavalry don't concede a run in their half of the inning. So the score at the moment, halfway through the third inning, is still Perth 5, Canberra 2. As we see the young cheerleaders with all kinds of flipping and things happening along the first base side this time. Flipping and twisting and catching. It's quite impressive. Brooks Hall, he's coming back out on the bump. He's conceded 2 runs through his 2 innings. The lead-off home run to Francoso. And then Kyle Perkins, who scored on a base hit from Cam Warner that, luckily or unluckily, depending on which side of the coin you look at, bounced over the glove of a diving Pete Cosmer at second and into right field. We'll come back to the top of the lineup for the Cavalry to start the third inning. Francoso, Candelas, Massey. They'll lead it off. Francoso came into this game batting .427. That's the first pitch from Hall, misses. From the wind-up. Inside and low. Francoso had to do the hot shoe shuffle to get out of the way of that one. Count is 2-0. Hall from the wind-up. Francoso swings and fouls it back. Count is 2-1. Just a reminder, earlier start tomorrow, 11 a.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Saving Time, so 8 a.m. for our friends in Perth that are listening. Count is 2-1. Francoso hits one into left centre field. That has gone back off the wall. Francoso charging towards second with a double. He'll stand up easily. 2 for 2 tonight for Michael Francoso. David Candler steps in. Finally some signs of noise from the Canberra crowd. Francoso at second. Means Hall comes from the stretch, delivers. Candler swings and fouls it back, strike one. Just a reminder, this game is only 7 innings. Due to the rescheduling of the finish of game 1 from Thursday night earlier today. Hall set at the belt. Checks Francoso. Delivers. Low and outside in the dirt. Great block there by the catcher, Chris House. Count is 1-1. Right-handed Hall. Here comes set, fires again. Beautiful breaking pitch. Draws Candless into swing. Breaks away past the outside of the bat. Count is now 1 ball, 2 strikes. None out here. Bottom of the third at MIT Ballpark. Perth 5, Canberra 2. Hall set. Checks Francoso. Just low. 2-2. Perth leading Canberra by 5 runs to 2 here. Hall fires and Candler swings through, misses strike 3. For the first out here for Canberra in the bottom of the third.
Now batting the second baseman, number 16, Greg Massey.
Massey steps in. Struck out in the first. The left-handed Massey. He steps in against the right-handed Hall. Hall set, delivers. He's just missed with that one, ball 1. Massey, 1 ball, no strikes. Francoso the runner at second. Hall comes set at the belt from the stretch, delivers. And that's high and outside, ball 2. Auckland leading Melbourne 2-0 in the bottom of the second. Brisbane leading Geelong Korea 5-2 in the bottom of the third as Hall fires again, high and outside, ball 3. 0-0 bottom of the first between Sydney and Adelaide, and now here. Bottom of the third, 1 out. Michael Francoso is at second. The count is 3 balls, no strikes to Massey. Hall set at the belt. And that's a beautiful pitch right down the middle for strike 1. No, there's a ball on the field. Well, I think one of the kids has got a little bit excited and thrown his foul ball on the field accidentally. Tim Kennelly goes to get it. Throws it back over, being the gentleman that he is. We go again. 3 balls, 1 strike to Massey. Hall from the stretch. Fouled back to the screen. Count is full at 3-2. Perth got the good jump early again in this game. In a shortened game, getting a good jump early is just as important as anything. As Hall fires and Massey fouls another one back. Massey does like going deep into counts if he has to. He's a survivor. He may lose the battle, but he'll gain something off you. Hall set at the belt and delivers. And that was low and inside. And Massey has fouled it off to keep the count full. The ball boy delivers a fresh batch of balls to home plate umpire Ben Nash. Hi Greg, score is 5-2 in favour of the Perth Heat. Bottom of the third, one out. Michael Francoso is at second for the Cavalry. He is the only runner aboard. Hall set, checks, fires high, ball 4. Which now means there are 2 runners on. And now there's a meeting of the minds here in the Perth infield. But I'm not seeing any action. I can see the Perth bullpen from where I am. I'm not seeing anyone up throwing yet. So obviously this is just a bit of a check in. We've got the lead, mate. You're doing well. So for those that have just joined us, we'll just do a quick recap. Yuki Kuniyoshi, he got the start for Canberra. And he didn't perform as well as he probably would like. He gave up 3 runs in the first. He only saw 2/3 of an inning. As Perth got 3 in the first and then took 2 off Bunda in the second. They lead 5-2 here against the Cavalry here. 1 out in the bottom of the third. Canberra have something going though. Francoso at second. Massey at first. Zach Wilson, he's the man in the box. He's just popped it up. And Jake Bowie, the first baseman, has run back. It wasn't that high and managed to take a very good catch in the end. So 2 out. Michael Krause, he steps in. As Chris alluded to earlier. Joined the Cavs again only a couple of series ago. Was in contact, said he'd love to be back here, and then an opportunity came and he was back in the colours. All set, checks the runners. He fires. And that's low, ball 1. One and out, 2 out here, bottom of the third. All set and delivers. Outside, ball 2. Hall, a long time to get his signal. He comes set at the belt, checks Francoso, and he delivers. Krause fouls it back to the screen. Strike 1. Count is 2 balls, 1 strike, 2 out here. Bottom of the third at MIT Ballpark. Hall, he's taking a while to get his signal. He delivers. Krause fouls another one back. 2-2. So 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out, 2 on. Michael Francoso, he's the runner at second. Craig Massey, he's the man at first. Hall set at the belt. He delivers. Krause, he's got up and under it. It's Charles Chester, the centre fielder, who's coming in. He takes it comfortably. And that retires the side. And after getting two base runners on, Canberra couldn't do anything with it. Still 5-2 in favour of the Perth Heat here after 3 innings. They lead. We'll just go around the grounds and have another quick look while we've got the innings break happening, because of course lots of implications to the playoff picture. The Tuatara, they put on another run in the bottom of the second against Melbourne. They lead 3-0 over Melbourne. Still 0-0, top of the second in Adelaide, between Sydney and Adelaide. Brisbane lead Geelong Korea 5-2. Same score line that's happening here. Interesting to see though, Perth 5 runs on 4 hits. Canberra 2 runs on 5 hits. J.R. Bunda, he's the man back out on the bump. But there are people as I speak now, I see heading up to the Canberra bullpen. Pitching coach Brian Grenning is one of them. Having a look around, I don't see any other fielding changes at the moment. As we head to the top of the 4th inning, Perth Heat 5, Canberra Cavalry 2. Second last game of the regular season. Series finale is at 11 a.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time tomorrow morning. 8 a.m. for our friends in the West. That game will be a video stream. Tomorrow morning. There's Bunda back on the bump from the stretch. He faces the left-handed Chris House. And that's in there for a called strike. House hit one straight at Boss Maranara to end the first inning. He leads off here in the 4th. As House swings through that one, doesn't make any contact. Strike 2. 0-2. Bunda comes set from the stretch. He delivers. Fouled back. Kennelly steps in. The sun now nearly gone. The lights well and truly taking over here at MIT Ballpark. Bunda at the stretch delivers. And a good breaking pitch for strike 1. Bunda comes set again. Kennelly liked what he saw but couldn't get around on it fast enough. Fouls it back into Snake Gully. Oh. 0-2 quickly. Tim Kennelly, the right-hander, facing J.R. Bunda. He's set at the stretch. Delivers. Fouls another one back. One out here in the top of the 4th. Perth leading 5-2. Count is 0-2 on Kennelly. Bunda set again. He delivers. Check swing. Mike Kennelly fouled back, nearly takes out the man in the on-deck circle, Chris Clare. He had to do a bit of limbo to get around that one. Still 0-2 to Kennelly. Bunda set from the stretch, delivers. Kennelly has lined that straight into centre field past a diving Michael Francoso at shortstop. That's a base hit for Perth.
That's a single to Tim Kennelly.
Kennelly now.
Now batting the left fielder, number 9.
Chris Clare steps in. He's 1 for 2 tonight. He reached on an error in the first. He had a double in the second. Double against Bunda. Bunda checks Kennelly. Delivers. Clare has hit that straight at the centre fielder. Lined it straight to Michael Krause. For the fly out. 2 away.